It's working? Awesome. Hi. Thank you for having me here. This is a large audience. So I'm here to talk to you guys about, it's sort of my story for the past 5 years. It's more of my discovery of finding a medium, which is art, and putting it out in the public space, and using that to find a space for me to go home, and using that to be able to empower people to make changes in their city. So I'm here to tell you that all of us in this room actually have a huge power, and all of us here can change the places that we live in, and we can make them better. I don't know why that is on the Okay. I think there's another one. So this is what a good public place would look like. A good public place is a place where we all want to be in. It has an obvious relationship within businesses and pedestrians. It has hand-painted signs. It has art on the streets. It has some sort of character. It's not just a space that you go to because there's some sort of farmer's market or some sort of craft market. It's just a place that you like to go to and actually enjoy the outside of that space. Now, at some point, I never really cared for this, to be honest with you. It was about 6 years ago that I found a TED Talk by James Howard Kunstler that's called The Tragedy of Suburbia. And he starts talking about having better places, and one of the things that he says and he stresses is that we should all want to live in a place that has character and meaning, because that will make us happier and less depressed. Well, that's what the whole talk is about. At that point, a really dark time in my life, when I heard that, it really started to make me see things around me differently. And it's because we actually all live in a city that has a ton of not so happy public places. And when I moved to this country, I actually lived in Orlando, Florida, which is even, more not so happy public places. But when I heard that quote from James Howard Kunstler, and I'm starting to realize what's happening around me and where I live, I start to see these places, and I start to think that changes need to start happening. And why are we so okay, going to our downtown and having it look like this? We have very poorly designed highways. 75 cuts through the heart of the city. When I moved to this country at 16 years old, everyone in my high school wanted to get a car. Everyone is so obsessed with cars and driving that we're really driving ourselves out of the engagement and connection that we can have with our surroundings and with our streets and with our walls. This is actually a still from the TV show The Walking Dead, which it's kind of crazy that they use Atlanta's downtown for its post-apocalyptic surroundings, right? It's like, that's just like, hey, wake up call. People think we should have zombies in our downtown. The street Auburn Avenue, about 2 years ago, was considered a landmark in danger of extinction, the home of Martin Luther King. So again, another thing for us to think about. We all love this city, but why are we letting this happen? Why are we thinking that it's cool in a way that The Walking Dead is filming here and that this is happening? And we have Edgewood Avenue, which is a ton of bars, but a block away we have this. So I'm from Peru, accent. I lived in Peru. I was born in Peru, in Lima, Peru, and I lived there until I was 15 years old. When I moved to this country, I was not happy. So if you guys ever have kids, try not to move to another country when your kid is a teenager. It's just not going to go well. But I grew up with this. I grew up with classes. I grew up with markets. I grew up with block parties. My grandmother and her sisters would always want to be outside on our street and don't put lawn chairs, and we knew everyone on the block, and seriously, half of my family lived on my block. And in the other block was the other rest of my family. It was crazy. Like, I had everyone that meant something for me was very close to me. So there was definitely a sense of place. Like, I knew that I belonged to this district. It was not just that I belonged to Lima, Peru. Like, I belonged to this one space. Okay. So I came from that background. I moved to the United States. I got completely lost. I went through a long time not knowing who I was and where I was going. I'm from Peru. I live in this country. It's been about 15 years since I moved here. So I did not know who I was or where I was. So the internet, thank God for the internet, showed me this. This artist is blue. He's from Italy, and at this point I'm blogging a lot, and I'm following street art. And this guy connected with me so well. I had this curiosity trying to find out how he did this and why he did it, and was this legal or not, and why put all this effort until painting this wall. I'm an artist. I actually moved to Atlanta to go to SCAD, and I dropped out of school. And then I went to the Art Institute, and then I dropped out again. I was a really bad student. I really did not know what I wanted to do. But when I found this, I realized that what I really wanted to do was to connect the same way that this guy was connected with me. I wanted to do something more than just putting artwork in a gallery. I wanted to connect with this world that I did not even find a connection with. So I met this girl. She became one of my best friends, and she also had gone to art school. And she was very lost, and she did not know what she wanted to do with her degree. So we started to put artwork on the streets, not necessarily legally. And we found now a huge connection. We had people talking to us, and we had people like not known who were sending us stuff on the internet, saying how happy they were when they saw this on the way to work. It was something different than just the regular billboard that we're seeing every day. It completely changed my mind, and I started to look for walls and became a wall collector. And it was really insane. I actually have, still till today, folders and folders and folders of walls, just blank walls. So I stopped driving my car, I started to ride my bike all the time. And now I really wanted to find these places that needed something else. So it was from your sidewalks to the intersection, to the wall, like what needed to be highlighted, what needed to be reactivated in a way, and what space needed art, I suppose. So it became from, it went from one street to one district to the whole city. It gave me such empowerment that I really, at this point, wanted to just cover the whole city with artwork. Before this happened, I met somebody that actually went to Georgia Tech. His name is Blackie Migliosi, and I'm not sure if some of you may know him. He was going to school for math, and I'm not sure what else. He's a genius. So he meets me. He had done a study on urbanism here. He had gone to Barcelona. He knew a ton of street artists in Barcelona. And now we're talking about how this is affecting us into realizing where we live and how this is affecting other people. And you start thinking about the skateboarder that goes in the park and starts using a bench as a ramp instead of just a place that you sit in. So now we're trying to think of new and creative ideas to how to utilize our street furniture, how to utilize our walls that are just laying blank. Like, what can we do to make this space better and make that process a more human process and an inspiration to others? So we come up with the idea of putting together street artists and graffiti writers together with city planners and urbanists. We thought it was kind of funny, but we thought it was kind of smart. And this is what happens. We start leaving walls, the city speaks, and it becomes a conference of street art and urbanism. And we had no idea what we were doing. We had $0. And so we started to lie. We were like, we're going to do this, and we're going to do that. And we started to ask everyone to come to the city, and then people started to believe it, and people started to actually feel that this could happen. Without knowing anything, somehow we started to pull this off. And so we started asking artists from all over the world. And it was just insane that people from Australia, people from the Ukraine, people from Israel wanted to come to, out of all places in the United States, not New York, not LA, but Atlanta, Georgia. And they actually wanted to paint walls here, and they believed that a street art movement could happen here. They could create murals, and they could actually start connecting with the community here and work with the local artists here too. So the question that everyone wanted to ask was, what is this wall communicating to us, and how are we responding to this? And what should we even care? And that's a question that I still ask everyone, and I still ask myself, like, why are we even caring, right? And why are we not looking for positivity in this wall? Like, where is this, and why are we not being more active about this? So there's a story about this wall, and I'm going to say it quickly. I know I have a limited time here. This is in 2012. I met this lady, Yolanda, who's the owner of this wall, and she really wanted to have something painted there. She tells me that this wall, this building, people that lived there were robbed and were murdered, and it just had really bad energy. And it was known in the neighborhood as just a really bad building. So we decided to paint this wall. She's also a really colorful and amazing and super bubbly lady. So this is what happens. And it is a really pretty mural. But it's not just the owner's mural, it's not just the building mural. It's something that was done in 10 days with the help of the kids in the neighborhood and the help of their community. So now this one building that was looked at this dark place becomes a sense of pride for everyone that lives there. So now we're connecting, right, with everybody else. Now we're finding this connection that is, in a way, creating a dialogue, and this dialogue is creating a public space, and this dialogue is now humanizing the one place that before was nothing but a dirty, ugly wall that had just bad energy, or was looked at something bad. This is a wall that was also painted in 2012. It's in the Churchwood Park neighborhood, next to the prison, in front of a mosque and a church. And we brought the artist Hiro from Argentina to paint on the wall. And she does this. I'm not sure if you guys can see it well. So it's the image of a woman, it's like an animation, and she's growing some sort of hair or fur, and then she's shaving it, and now she's naked or nude, walking next to this hair that becomes a wall. It's one of my favorite murals still today. It only lasted a month. So it was painted over. A lot of people in the community thought that it was pornographic because it was a nude woman. So at this point, this is something that the artist and I decided to do. We just step back and we let the community decide what to do because it doesn't belong to us anymore. And it created this dialogue that is still being talked about today. We may not have related or connected with everyone in the community in the way that everyone loved what we did, but now people are actually talking about this intersection, talking about how to regulate public art. And now, 2 years later, the city of Atlanta is actually creating a new ordinance to regulate public art in the city, having the city council and MPUs voting on it. It's kind of a big deal right now, but again, a dialogue was created, and maybe it was about time for the city of Atlanta to start talking about what's happening with our cities, what's happening with our streets and our walls. So the work that we have been doing for the past 5 years now has been connecting people, has been engaging communities, and it's also creating a dialogue and sometimes controversies. But it's not something that belongs to us, it belongs to everyone. And it's not meant to give any answers. It's meant to start raising questions. It's meant to start empowering people, for you guys and everyone to be able to take action in this. And we are so allowed to play with our places. It's our city. We should be able to do that. And when we actually take this approach, we can create really beautiful things. It's been 5 years. We started with Black and I, and now it's 21 people and 8 people on our board. Again, all volunteer. It's been 5 years that we have been working towards engaging and educating and changing or trying to come up with new perspectives about public space and trying to put that out there for everyone to see. So what I want you to guys take home with you is that just like that wall shows there, even though we're surrounded by a lot of gray and a lot of power and a lot of voices that tell us that in order to do this, you're going to need this much money or you're going to need all of these connections, well, it's not true. And if you do decide to do something that is for your city and it has a lot of art and it's for you to be able to have a better place for you to call home, I know firsthand that it will shine brighter than anything else you have around. Thank you.